She has not answered yet.
Well,
Slight delay.
maybe we can treat these people to a clap at one
Oh,
point
yeah,
too.
sure. We
Whoa,
haven't
clap.
done
A
our...
live clap?
All right. Actually, before we do that, let me transition over for our cool little machine learning intro, and then they can watch us clap after that.
Whoa, people will be able to see the clap.
Ding.
It's a privilege.
Also, the screen is too
Rarely.
big.
It is shaking.
I forgot to resize that for having a banner at the
Machine
bottom.
learning.
Awesome.
Executing.
I'm the most professional.
Executing.
Mhm.
All right. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Smooth.
Wow.
You all saw it.
There's
Now
never been a
smooth
more
like a goo-goo.
professional podcast.
Nor has there been a more professional live stream. Hello, Scrappers, live. Bow, 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 bow.
That was it. That was all we were going to say.
That was it.
Yeah,
That's all we
that's
had.
it.
Stream over.
End stream.
And I was going to say the infectious energy is really kind of,
It's
we're
just-
feeding off each other.
Oh, we're very easily confused, I think you'll find. And yeah, this technology has defeated us. Those of you at home may know we are down one this evening. Izzy may be in the audience tonight. I'm not sure, but she's not feeling up to participating due to some, omnipresent pandemic issues. So we're actually going to have a weird programming deviation from our normal weekly podcast releases. Next week and the week after, you will be getting in the normal Pod Against the Machine release slot the episodes 1 and 2 of our debut Pathfinder 2nd Edition adventure, GM'd by none other than Jeff.
This guy.
What? I was kidding.
It-
Yeah.
This will be, I'm going to fail to do the title because now we're live. Jimmy Fame presents Bonus Against the Machine, More Pod for Your Bod. Sponsored by Charlie the Lizard Folks Chicken Emporium. More cluck for your buck.
Nailed it.
So where did those hearts come from?
Me.
Oh, okay.
My
It's like,
appreciation.
I didn't do anything in this stream. How did someone do that?
The stream just did it automatically because, it knew. Now we can
Yeah,
go
it's
to
gonna be fun.
machine learning.
Yep.
So,
It's great. We get all the rules totally right. Rolls super smoothly. I mean, it is really the by the bookedness that you've come to expect from us, the literal interpretation of the text.
yeah, I think it's our best rules knowledge demonstration that's ever
Yeah.
happened.
Mhm.
If I were to wager in the future when a rules sommelier is kind of swirling these episodes around, they're gonna say it's the best vintage they've ever had.
Mhm. Notes of expertise and despair.
Mm.
Mm.
And a smooth finish.
And birds.
It burns. Yeah, based off of our post-recording conversations and realizations, I may have to record an epilogue of what really happened, but don't worry, no spoilers.
And the eternal shame attached.
Just
that.
re-record the endings 2 other times, like Clue.
Also, Dodgeball's got the great. The original ending was that the underdogs lose,
Yeah.
and it's just there was no like elimination round. Like they just lose the end. And it's like, that would have been perfect. No spoilers though. We got everything right. This was just like a fun joke. Haha.
So tune in for that next week, and it should be a lot of fun. And also, we'll have this, on the podcast feed at some point, and you'll listen to it again. even though you're
Yeah,
watching
like
it now.
2 weeks down the line and go, oh wow, next week, and get really excited, and then realize that we were talking about the 2nd of August.
Well, the thing is, like, I didn't actually say the words next week. I did the little special timestamp thing where it's going to automatically
Mm.
AI generate my voice and say the appropriate date.
No,
Why are
it won't
hands so
be
big?
at all as bad as watching a movie on TV in the 90s. And it's like, you're going to hear our podcast on August 21st in our normal time slot.
They're
We need
going
to start
bid on
doing
the
that when people
Atlanta
accidentally curse.
Falcons.
Yeah.
Just replace it with like the really bad oh god, what was it in the first Matrix movie, the TV edit, for whatever reason, apparently you couldn't say Jesus Christ on TV. So he says like Jeepers or something in a voice that isn't Keanu Reeves' voice when they pull the bug out of him.
That's perfect.
Jiminy Jillikers.
He's like, Jeepers Creepers, that thing's real? Or something like that instead of Jesus. And it's so it's even worse than the Mr. Falcon thing from Die Hard, if that's possible.
I believe you mean Captain Falcon from F-Zero.
Yeah.
And Super Smash Brothers.
Or the
Finder of Paths and Stars says Jiro is quiet.
Oh, I'm quiet? Okay, I can turn me up, I believe. Let me see what I can do for that.
And Izzy
I'm also
is banning
talking
everyone.
fairly quieter.
Mhm.
Oh, and also
job,
Izzy is
Izzy.
apparently banning
Up.
everyone. Awesome. Thought there was an option for that. Oh, probably
Alexa,
not while
increase Jiro's volume. You're welcome.
I don't think I can
Oh, no.
do it while we're live, which doesn't
Just
seem right.
project.
Yeah, I
Shout.
can't just talk
Just put
louder.
L-
Diaphragm.
Scare your lizard. Shout over the howling Florida winds.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad right now. The storm passed over and didn't murder everyone, so that was good.
That is always good. It would have been pretty rough if it had murdered everyone.
I just want to know. We'll know who the true fans are. I say this in jest. You're all great. We love you. When somebody shows up to a con someday wearing a hashtag scare your lizard shirt, we're like, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, I cannot add a filter onto this to increase the gain while it is going. That's always fun. So yeah, and I already have that all the way up. I can turn everybody else down and just turn your own volume up.
I like the
Armor.
zero-sum volume game. That's
Oh
all
wait,
I
no,
like.
you know what I can do? Hang on.
I enjoy the idea that you're putting it on the listener. Like, I'm just going to turn everything down, and then you can deal with it, everyone else.
I mean, sometimes from a sound mix perspective, I mean, that's spot
Yes.
on. You got to
But
turn
they don't
everybody else
have
down a little bit.
preamps. Well, welcome to machine learning, everyone.
A pod about the machine?
A pod about the machine.
From who?
Where from us, pod against the machine, those guys, and and we bring to you the personality and suave savoir-faire and other French words we don't totally convey or understand the meaning of in their use to you on live stream this evening, where we will be discussing episodes 55. Someone wrote
Just
this
say
down.
the ones from starting in January 2022.
Yeah, I looked at this. I think one of the first ones we're talking about, is it starting in January? Or is
I
it
think so.
midway through? Okay, yeah, because I listened to one
yeah.
this morning that was on the 25th of January and was like, yes, just in time. 6 months later.
Yeah,
to really
because
dig into
we
this.
finished up last time. Oh, and Izzy says I'm good as long as I just project and don't whisper 3 feet away from the mic. Yeah, we finished up last time talking about the raid on the Smilers, which I believe was December and like the very beginning of January. Oh,
Makes
and
sense.
also, Finder pointed out we forgot. This is uh, the actually I gotta say the whole thing, or the title doesn't work. This is Machine Learning, a pod about the machine from Pod Against the Machine, the only podcast with a supplementary podcast with a 25-word title. That because of that title, you have to say it that exact way, or it's the wrong number of words.
That's what I was. That's what I was trying for. Thanks, Finder. You get it.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, it's so hot here and I have to turn off my AC for these people. It's like 101 outside right now, Jeff.
Ow.
For these people whom we love.
Who we love. But
For these people, we would do 102 degrees.
or 102 word podcasts, but sometimes I can only remember like 12 of them. So thank you, Finder of Paths and
Oh
Stars.
man. Someday we're going to make a podcast with a title so big that it will crush
That
them
it's the
all.
whole podcast. By the time you're done saying it,
It'll be
it's
like Too
just-
Many Cooks, but it's just all saying the.
Well, I mean, how long is the actual official title of McFib? That's got to be 30 words plus, right?
Oh yeah. Pause for counting. It's important.
anything to
right
get to,
back.
to stop us from getting to these recaps. We really just
Yeah, going back to recap, who wants to? I think Zach was starting to talk about it before I interrupted him to say the name of the show.
no
23
you're
words.
doing important work there. I am just trying to locate which one we're getting started with in these fastidiously kept notes that I have here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't eat with the Smiths on any of these, so my notes are going to be mostly about how many bullets I have and how many misfired guns.
So I think we're starting off with the receiver array app, right? Where we head into Chokesville. Is that true?
Yeah.
Alexander to Chokesville.
55.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah, Chokington and
Mhm.
Brixby's No Good, Very Bad Day.
Mm-hmm. One of many.
The first of many, probably. Yeah.
Oh, not
I
the first.
wouldn't say that's the first. Did we forget
he is-
Hetueth?
He
Did we
did
forget
lose a
Garmin's
face.
house?
Yeah, no, there's series of bad days. Did you forget getting kidnapped by Sandville, or maybe?
I forget
What a
most of the
memoir
bad
for
things
that
that
rat.
happen to Brixby.
Yeah, so we managed to not get tetanus up to this point. I'm actually surprised in general that did not seem to be that, like, it just felt natural that at one point there was going to be some sort of like tetanus trap or rusty scrap wall town. Didn't even happen to us. Instead, aliens.
Well,
He
and
was
not
right
just
all
One
along.
alien.
not just alien. It was like freaking Cthulhu mythos alien, wasn't it? Wasn't it like Dark Tapestry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a dark tapestry cut, the Rue Chalik,
Mm-hmm.
which I believe was original for this adventure.
Yeah. Now, you probably can't say anything without spoiling, but does that tie into anything? It just seems so out of place with anything else for there to be like a dark tapestry thing, or was it just another random alien that these guys collected that got out when they all crashed?
Without getting into, spoiler territory, I'm going to say that, sometimes Paizo throws in things in books that don't ever go anywhere as kind of a red herring. And sometimes they throw in things that, there'll be a callback to. And sometimes they throw in things that are a big deal. And I won't say which of which this is. But it was adorable, and it was very fun to write up nightmares for every single character.
Holy cow. Yeah, that was the big payoff of, like, we all knew internally at some point something awful is going to happen because Sam just messages us basically, hey, what's your character's biggest fear? For no reason. And then
And
things
then
like, so why? Is there a reason why? Not that I need it, just curious. Also, can you record yourself saying,
yeah.
you know, these things to be used for no reason?
Yeah, the one that really got me was that second message. Like the first one's like, okay, this is going to be something interesting. Maybe there's going to be like flashbacks or something, or maybe somebody's going to hit us with a spell. And then when he gave the second message, like, here's a bunch of lines with no context, record these. And it's stuff like, you're saying to Brixby, I hate you, or you failed me, or whatever that one was, or you're saying to your, it's like, oh my God, what is he planning with this? These are awful.
I don't know why you would think that. I mean, sometimes you just need to have things in the hopper.
Speaking of Hopper, that was a good jumping episode for old Mad Ups McJumps.
Hey, I was wondering how you were going to tie Dennis into this, but no. Yeah, horizontal leaps too. That was a treat. There are times when, as a player rolling dice for a fictional game, where there is at least a 1 in 20 chance, not that you miss, but that you just ruin your whole day, and your main weapon doesn't work anymore. There's sometimes when it's like, why on earth would I have chosen this class given my ability to roll dice poorly? But then there's other times when it's like, I flew through the air, reloaded in midair, and like jumped up and parkoured off and shot a tiny space alien. We're like, yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, you could 100% choreograph like an action movie sequence based just on what Asher did in the Rue Chalik fight.
It was very John Woo Chalik. It was fantastic.
Oh, there's the episode title that got away.
Oh man.
Yeah, let's go back and rename that.
And here I just had a couple notes to myself that I had make a joke about RuPaul and Mayim Bialik. I didn't even think about Woo Chalik. Man.
But Brixby did a lot of thinking, and boy, was it all negative. Boy, that was actually some of the most intense, unplanned role play. Because I'll pull back the curtain a little bit, and this is good policy sometimes when you record a podcast for other people's consumption, where we don't really like to do things over. So we sometimes will let each other know when we're like, hey, we're going to do this scene together. I'd like to do this scene with you. And it's going to be a little, you know, tear jerky. But that one was just a pretty big surprise for everybody, I think. And it was also one of the few moments where it wasn't like PvP. We haven't really experienced the like mind control charm versus someone in the party yet, but it felt like it to a degree. It's the closest thing to it. Brixby thought you were all antagonists for a little while. So yeah, it was really interesting and traumatizing. But good. But it did screw Brixby up a good deal. I've definitely said that a few times, but I would love to impress. That was the episode that really broke something in his brain.
Yeah, I felt bad writing some of these because they got intense. And like I'm not sure that I used, like, I wrote 5 things I think for each character. And I'm not sure I used all 5 for Brixby, but he definitely got more than anyone else.
He's a little trauma rat. He seems to just kind of like really attract it in his just goings about. I guess that's fine.
He also kept failing will saves.
Yeah. Oh, that's the big one. Yeah. He's attached to me, and just like Jeff, I don't know why I decided to play a game that is based off of randomized dice rolls for optimal outcome, but for fun and for torture, self-torture. What else did we do? Did we meet Heath in this episode, or did we just induct him into a life of crack?
Next one, I think.
Next one, we met him. Vargas spent, I think, all of this episode and about half of the next one just like kind of off screen running through empty rooms. because he had
He
the
was
weird
baiting the
brilliant
whole
idea of
ship.
getting
Yeah.
around behind the horrible space jellyfish. And by the time he finally came out, I think we were halfway through the next fight.
Yeah, you didn't get dragged into an alternative combat, which I thought was gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
Sam is incredibly kind for not
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
just being like a
especially, I want to say, I think like the third or fourth room that he walked into was the nest of that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
like, oh God, there's going to be more in here. And then he's like, yeah, no, there's nothing there. You can keep going.
yeah, and this thing wasn't particularly dangerous offensively. It was just that it, you know, shows you your deepest fears and makes you afraid of everyone around you. No big deal.
The definition of NBD for sure.
Yeah.
I
And it's
do.
certainly not anything that would ever come back in any way.
no,
No.
No.
one of those red herrings, just like you
Mm.
said.
All jest aside for just a moment, shockingly, I don't want to let this episode discussion go by without acknowledging that when Zach says this like broke something in Brixby, just sometimes you do a production with your friends and it's just really fun. You're playing a game, and other times you see this awful thing happen, and the way that their character responds to it and continues to feel like echoes from that. You're just like, man, dude, Zach crushed it.
Oh, thank you. Well, just like everybody else, we have a lot of practice with trauma before we get to the table. So, right. But no, I think that's something I've really enjoyed in general about playing with this group is that we can transition really easily out of our viscous kind of humor into some pretty serious territory, w- like organically, and
Mhm.
kind of as a unit too. I feel like I never really, I don't know. It is it's really inspiring to watch people play with the commitment to their characters' emotional honesty and truth.
Mhm.
S- with everybody here, and Izzy, you count as being here. You are signified by the strange door above my head. But yeah, no, I want to echo what Jeff said. I mean, actually, especially again, this doesn't apply to this, but if you've listened to recent episodes, they've been very emotional for everyone and done an excellent job, except for maybe a jerk who left and didn't decide to feel.
That was a very
And
emotional going away.
so,
In fact, it was so
so
emotional he forced Brixby to do it like 4 times after he left.
Whatever happened, I mean, no
whatever that
spoilies.
is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Who knows who we're talking about or what happened.
indeed.
yeah,
So
those sound
then,
like spoilers. I don't know what
yeah.
you're
I don't know when
even
I'm.
alluding to.
If anyone is watching this and is still back in book 2 or never even listened, no spoilers. But hey, thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Weird that you're here and haven't listened yet, but we're so glad you are.
they actually didn't want to digest any media that we didn't also review as well. And that is good on you that you had the self control to not crack into any of the episodes of the past 6 months until we talk about them here with full, vibrant detail and a rich memory of their goings on.
Yes,
It's
Mhm.
definitely not 7 months ago for us.
that'd be weird.
Yes.
No time has
7.
passed.
No
I need to
time has
make that
passed.
shirt. I need to get off my butt and make that into a shirt.
You know what? We'll take it from here for a bit. Drew, just no time like the present.
Oh, that
Oh,
reminds me. I was
all
photoshopping Keith
times are the
David and Tim
present.
Curry's heads together for an icon. That's still half done in another tab.
Yeah, I was very sad to find out that Keith David no longer appears to be coming to Schenectady. I don't know what happened there. Seems like maybe he got bumped for James Marsters, and I will never forgive Mr. Marsters for that.
Could he?
Oh man,
I mean, I like James Marsters, but he is no Keith David.
same.
I mean, maybe he just decided not to come, but
That
one
could also be the
assumes he
case.
has.
He's
Well,
in that
there's
new
statement
Jordan Peele
stands.
movie. I didn't realize that.
Oh, cool.
He is.
Nope.
Yeah, he's in that one. What do you call it? Nope.
So, other things that are scary are things
Chokers.
that can choke you. Yes, indeed. And I don't just mean small parts inside bags or pretzels if you are a Texan president that we once had. I mean actually chokers that choke or commit acts of terrorism.
Also the Force.
Oh, true. Yeah, that I
Gotta
would
respect
also
it.
accept that one. That's fair.
Yeah, it's one of those chokers are one of those some semi-iconic, at least to me. Like they come up in a ton of adventures, and I'd never encountered one as a player before or a GM. I've just only heard, and it was kind
My
of fun.
go ahead, sorry. My first character death in a Pathfinder game was to a choker. I had
I
a
always
sea elf sorcerer who got horribly murdered by a choker in a game of Ruins of Aslant.
rip.
Which
I
is
always
weird.
mix
Normally, I
up.
think of sorcerers as really like robust and hearty classes that are tough to kill.
Can really
Yeah.
take a choking. That's what they say in the player's handbook, right under the class.
Yeah,
But I
they say
do.
1d6 extra resistance against chokes.
I mix up chokers, cloakers, and ropers, who are all classic like Darklands the dungeon creatures that are all very different CRs. I know there's probably at least one person listening to this now, or will be listening to this later, who could tell me, but I think it's like 1, 4, and 13 or something like that. But yeah, I couldn't remember what they were, but now the Heath art has just burned that into my brain. I can only see him when I close my eyes. No, I can only see him when I think about chokers in general. So, thank you, Heath. And it was pleasant to meet him. Sam, did you enjoy playing him?
I did. I totally did not expect to have to RP as a choker. But you all are definitely become the party that leaves one alive and takes a hostage. And that hostage has to get a name like Heath.
It's like if you don't name him, we will.
Well, I enjoy the logic of choker to joker to Heath, and I'm not sure if the other ones were Joaquin and
I think there's a Jared Leto in there.
They made sure he was up on the receiver array before.
No.
well, he was a very method choker was the problem.
Just
Even
no,
though
I
it didn't make
refuse.
any sense to be, and he was only being method about the part of the campaign that took place in like the first 5 minutes and didn't make any sense to be method over.
My favorite part was when he said it's choking time and started choking.
There we go. We finally got there to the
yeah.
Jared Leto joke.
I still can't get over him making people wheel him around in a wheelchair on that set for a movie where he's only crippled for the first 20 minutes of the movie.
I did not know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I did know about that. Yeah. He seems like a just not great person to work with.
No.
He's not invited on this podcast, unlike
Nope.
Keith David and Tim Curry.
Yeah.
It's true. Or previous Joker incarnations. Specifically Jack Nicholson.
Or Mark
Uh,
Hamill.
Mark Hamill's invited, I would say.
Yeah.
No? Is he
Yeah.
bad? No? I just
Yeah,
No.
panicked and
invited
thought,
Mark
oh,
Hamill.
there's some terrible thing Mark Hamill did that I don't know about.
He is
Well,
very
there was
vocal about his opinions, but I respect it.
there was that time that he contaminated all of the makeup in Gotham City with Joker venom, but it's okay because what the heck's his name? Not Tim Conway. Is it Tim Conway who voiced Batman?
Burton? Oh,
No,
no,
uh,
Michael Keaton.
no, in the TV show.
Hmm.
Wait,
To
the
Google.
old one?
You're
Like
talking
Adam
about the
West?
cartoon? Because Hamill was cartoon voice Batman. You're talking about the animated series?
Kevin Conroy. That's the last name. I mean, that's the first name. Kevin Conroy, not Tim Conroy. Tim Conroy, I think, is like a country singer or something.
Yep. Or Conway.
Yeah, Tim Conway is a
They're-
country singer. Yeah,
They're
Kevin
all welcome
Conroy.
on the podcast. Yep. If you
Yeah, in
voice
fact,
the
if
Joker or you played
if any country singer wants to contribute some royalty-free music, we'll find a way to use it.
Oh, is Caesar Romero still alive? Because he would be invited also. No, he's very dead. He's been dead for a long time. Yeah, I
I
just
say he
Googled
was like
Caesar
50
Romero.
when he was filming that show, so I'm pretty sure he's not alive anymore.
Yeah, he died in his mid 80s, like 30
Yeah,
years
1994.
ago.
The Rich
Oh.
Life. But speaking of all dead, here's something we actually didn't talk about in this relating to this podcast episode. Oof. Just thinking about Keith David and Heath Ledger and but all of the Thralls of Hellion, right? That's what they were called. The Thralls of Hellion. That was their
Yeah.
name.
Mhm.
Unlike all of the other gangs, like Red Tooth's Warren was decimated because of their battles. Like the Steelhawks were flagging but doing all right, and then obviously like the Smilers were, but this was the only gang that we had heard about that by the time that we got there, they were just basically gone. Like I expected to be
Mhm.
fighting hordes of chokers, like, or
Yeah.
at least like something along the lines of what we encountered with Marrow or someone else.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what other people's perception was about that, or why do we think that was the case?
I assumed it was because they got blamed for the receiver array not working, and because they were chokers and they have like a 2 intelligence, they couldn't explain that it wasn't them. That's what I'm assuming. So like the other gangs just killed them all out of like anger or out of punishment or something. Was that basically what it was? Do you have a different theory, Jeff, or pretty much the same theory?
Yeah, no, I think we basically learned as much as Hellion had a temper tantrum and had them all get killed.
I forgot. I
Um,
didn't realize we had learned that, but that makes a lot of
Uh,
sense.
But
Yeah,
even before that, knowing to what extent what that would look like, that's it. Thralls of Hellion sort of. I mean, they sounded cool. Like these are probably some not cool. Like I'd love to have, a cup of cold brew coffee with them, but like they sound kind of, I don't know, dedicated and maybe zealous, not just uh, super scared little dudes that just want to hug.
and they did just want to hug, specifically neck hugs, but still.
Yeah.
But
Now, uh, we had heard that before they were the Thralls of Hellion, they were just called the Thralls. Now, were they like? Did they worship the character that we've heard a little bit about at this point but haven't met yet, Blood Ghost? Or did they, what were they thralls of before they were thralls of Hellion? Because obviously if they had that name, they had to be working for something, right?
Well, the thing is, in the book, they don't really tell you anything about what the Thralls of Hellion were before they basically like prostrated themselves before Hellion. Like, you know that they were a gang of chokers and they controlled this chunk of scrap wall around the receiver array, and that they became cultishly devoted to Hellion. But you don't get anything before that, and you only ever see them in the book after Hellion has basically taken out a temper tantrum on them and had Kulgara and maybe others, but primarily Kulgara, just execute like almost everybody. Um, so I kind of imagine that like they were more of a mysterious, like nobody interacts with them and they kind of swarm you and just like basically prey on you if you come into their territory, because they do eat humanoids. Even though, you know, they're tiny subterranean things, they are predators and they're pack hunters. So, you know, they hide and they have very good stealth. They hide amongst the garbage and they spring out and they drop down on you and overwhelm you with numbers and eat you. So nobody really would have known what they were about other than they were a scary, malevolent force and don't go there.
They sound like the terrible things from The Descent, the way that you describe them that way. I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone else has inflicted that
Mhm.
movie on themselves, but ooh,
No.
Yeah. Cave monsters.
one of the few ones that gets me. Being the idea of being trapped underground is just horrifying. Like,
You know,
but yeah, go ahead.
I honestly was more freaked out and scared by the parts of that movie where it was just them getting stuck than any of the parts with actual monsters in it.
Agreed. Yeah, no, it really evokes that like Ted the Caver creepy pasta
Yep.
era
That's,
where
that's what
you're
I was
just
going to
like,
mention. Like, of like all the creepy pasta I've mentioned, just reading the Ted the Caver stuff where it's just describing caving, basically. I was just like, nope, I didn't know I was claustrophobic, but now I am. And then like and people in the Discord would probably know I listened to the Magnus archives in their entirety in like 2 weeks recently. And I mean all the stuff with the caving and like the underground and like, yeah, that's the stuff that gets me. And you know, I've never had any claustrophobia in my real life, but now I know I'm not going to go caving.
Mm.
Yeah.
so well, we did what we do with every defeated enemy. We keep one alive, and then we make it an accomplice, and then maybe later a hostage, or possibly even a light fixture.
Yeah.
But yeah, with this one, I believe Brixby made a some sort of check or series of checks that were like very Brixby, like engineering disably, but Heath did the boom.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Brixby figured out where to put the charges um, that would destroy the receiver array, which, you know, was already disabled thanks to book one. But yeah,
Yeah, we didn't
he
want it
made
turning
Heath pull
back
the
on.
trigger.
Mhm. Yeah, and it was all
Was
him.
it?
We didn't do anything.
hmm
You said like pause. You said it was disabled thanks to book one. I just thought it wasn't receiving a signal, but if a signal was turned back on, it would still have worked.
Yeah, I mean, it was disabled in that there was nothing coming in.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't
You didn't
realize that.
break it. You just stopped what
No,
they
Heath
were
broke it.
doing.
yeah, and if
Yeah.
that was their only boombox, that's what we've just been calling it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
for so long. Power receiver. What is it? Power
Power
transmitter.
The
relay.
yeah.
Power
Yeah.
relay. Oh yeah. I mean, if that was their only one, then yeah, I guess we did effectively disable it, but we didn't know. You know, there could have ostensibly been another one in Hajath Hurkados operated by Emmy's boyfriend, Sage's boyfriend, Emmy's
Sage's
boyfriend,
boyfriend.
Sage's
Sage's
boyfriend.
Yeah,
Amy's
he's real.
boyfriend would never. How dare you?
That's
No.
true. He's a sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
he's
he's a
real.
bad guy, but he's not that kind of bad guy. The bad boy with an O-I. Yep, it's official. Yes, I think of it as maybe they just centuries ago they've lost a channel changer, and so it was just pointing at this one receiver power relay, and we turned it off. It's like, oh,
I think it's just sort of the confluence of like you have this part and it can talk to this part. So then if you have the well, if you find something that can send power to the
Yeah.
power relay, you
And
can, you know, they've
and that was
found
another
3 very
big
rare
thing of it.
things.
Even if like they had gotten the relay back, there wasn't anything else we knew of that generated the kind of power he needed other than the torch. Like,
Who
there's
could
nothing
say?
else around that we know about.
Who
that we
knows
know of.
if there's
Certainly not at
anything
this
else.
point in the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I imagine,
But we
like,
also did what
if there
big
was something
bad
easier,
daddies
Hellion
do.
would have gone to it.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's true. But I'm going to restate this point. We did what
Yep.
big bad daddies do, and we blew
Mhm.
the bejesus out of it. Or Heath did. If any of you are going to quote this later to law enforcement officials, it was the choker.
Mhm.
And
That's
that
no
was pretty
joke.
much that ep, right? We
Yeah.
then moved on to, we went back and saw old Red Tooth. What was the name of that ep?
Yampy and the Sconce.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and it's an excellent redemption story, going from choking, that nominative determinism of like, I am born to choke, I choke, therefore I am. But like he moved on to the journey of the spirit, from choker to terrorist to light fixture. And I mean, can we say that at the very least we all know that Heath found a little enlightenment?
Eh,
Wah, wah.
All right, that's fair. I'll just be turning off
someday.
my stream now.
He's losing a Sky Medal for that, right?
No, not at all. In fact, next time I run Zach through something, he'll get an extra hero point. No, someday listeners will reveal perhaps a lightly edited version of what's in our episode title ideas channel, because that's always a real good idea. And a good time to scroll back through, and because looking at I know what the episode title ended up, but what didn't make the cut, and one of them was a quote that I'm positive was from Zach. That was a very cool touchy-wutchy.
Oh no.
Oh man, I hate that I'm not in a position to disagree with you about that assessment. Oh, and the emojis attached to it are awful. Everything is bad.
I'm just sad knowing that I probably said something that triggered that. Generally speaking, that'll happen. Like the weird tickle feeling, but that's spoilers. That didn't happen yet. That's months away.
I'm reading over these now, and yeah, we need to kind of vet this to make sure it's appropriate and then share some of them.
Yeah, that
Because
was the lightly edited thought.
Yeah.
Ooh, and
Oh.
one of my fave moments from this episode was returning to Red Tooth's accent. I'm sorry, Sam, because you remember so many, but this was one of those moments where I think it actually made it into the role play. It like warranted mention. I don't know how you could keep track of all of these voices. Like, pro tip: GM Skull and Shackles, like I did. Literally,
God.
everyone talks like this. Like literally, you just do that nonstop. And yeah, that's. And if they don't, they talk like that now. But yeah, no, Sam, you do an exceptional job with the array of voices and inflections and accents. But
Except
yeah,
Red Tooth specifically, who I absolutely botched and regret every minute.
Oh man, it's just like the warm feeling thinking back to all the Yosokis that we fought under the torch, and like Patchy Blue, and having this, colloquialism kind of back and forth. It was a real treat to hear and be a part of.
Yeah, for those of you at home, Zach sent me a basically a key of the slang that he's been using. It's got like 15 things on it, and I have copied and pasted that thing through my OneNote into basically every episode summary where I think we're going to have Yosoki. And I just spend the whole thing with that on one screen next to me so I can look at it and totally fail to do that Birmingham accent and just hate myself.
Let's have an Arlie Barley, mucker.
No, I mean I adore Red Tooth and oh god, what is the
Whiskey
Fizz?
Fizz?
Whiskey
Whiskey
Fizz.
Fizz.
Yeah.
Also excellent.
I'm just feeling a
Pump
bit
thumping.
caggy-handed when it comes to
There it is.
Aces.
you know,
Aces, mucker. Aces.
Boston.
Boston. Yeah, that one was kind of hard to determine. I still think of all of the like British vernacular that I struggled with the most was having friends from the UK who would always start conversations with "You all right?" It's like a really common like "How you doing?" But like when
All right.
someone messages you, when someone asks you, right, and you're like, no, is it like showing? Do I look like, am I crying right now? Like, and it really just sets off this like intense, anxious start until you're like, oh, this is just, you don't care how it's kind of like, how you doing? But
Yeah.
when someone says you all right, it just, I don't know if that also makes your stomach like, but like, yeah, that one, that and let's see, what else can we make fun of the British for? Mushy peas. That too. Um,
I just watched an old British, well, old, like a 10-year-old British sitcom called The Cafe. And it's very, very like everything's super understated, but like half of any given episode will just be people saying, all right, all right, all right, all right. It's Phoebe Waller-Bridges from like before anyone in America at least knew who she was, but it's a very funny show.
I can't think of the phrase British sitcom without thinking, and I don't know if you'd even really call it a sitcom, but have any of you seen Bottoms? It's
No.
a British comedy show about these two unemployed guys living in this like really nasty apartment in like a really bad area of London, and like every episode is about them doing like some get rich quick scheme. But it's like live action Tom and Jerry. Like they hit each other with frying pans and they curse and all this other stuff. And one of them is named Eddie Hitler. And it's just the most ridiculous, surreal, like super lowbrow humor. And it's
Interesting. I wonder if that's Young Ones era.
Yeah,
Like,
it sounds very Young Ones-esque.
definitely. I don't know if you ever watched that one, Jero or Jeff. That was like a pretty classic, like counterculture show that had like the archetypical punk, the depressed hippie, the forever student, and the like political poetry.
it was
kind of.
1991 to 1995.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That
and
was
it's
actually,
bottom without the S at the end. I don't know why I thought there was an S.
yeah. Young Ones was 80s, I think.
Yeah.
It would have like, they'd have musical guests like Madness and stuff on it. It was a pretty fire show. Yeah. I guess the Brits did a couple things right.
Yeah, it was Eddie Hitler and Richie Richard, whose real name was actually Richard Richard.
So we gave the rats some. Did we give them back the bomb? The Semtex? Did we take some Semtex? Did we? I can't remember.
I think
Did we,
she made us give back what we had left because she said she had
Yeah.
another use for it,
Hmm.
which she
Yeah,
implied
she
was
wanted
blowing
to
up
blow
the the stadium.
Yeah. And yeah, after that, I think the same episode was the night market. Which
Yes. we meet an NPC who was forever changed the direction of the network.
would that be Drooly Julie?
I mean,
No,
also
the other one,
fantastic.
Sam.
No, Jimmy Fame does not appear in episode 56.
No,
He's
yeah.
the lead off of episode 57.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's
I
right.
was saying in the night market whole thing. But yeah, you're right. Julie
Pretend I
Julie.
said the right numbers. He was the lead off of episode 58. And we're talking
Yeah.
about 57 right now.
Yeah, 57 was the start of the night market, and then 58 was meeting Jimmy Fame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like.
Julie is definitely a game changer too.
Yeah, did she just like read a feeble mind scroll, or did she like like do something? I'm just
Well,
imagining
I'm assuming she's been drinking. What the heck is the thing that
Numerian
Sandville is
fluids
hooked
or
on?
soothe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not to soothe.
the art I used for Julie is the NPC Numerian Fluids Addict. If anyone wants to look that one up, if you have the Numeria Land of Fallen Stars PDF, that's who that is, and she is drooling in that art.
They have it on
there
Google,
you go.
and she is very much drooling in that art.
They weren't lying to you, is what I'm saying.
He's holding a like a test tube that she was apparently drinking out of.
Like a weird bar from the 90s.
Yeah.
That was by far one of the lamest and most ridiculous things that they did at that period of time. Test tube shots. Were we
Still not
excited
as
about
dumb as
anything that we
oxygen
bought?
bars.
Yeah. Brixby got a Pearl of Power because Giroux/Vargas was so kind as to use their percentile roll to bequeath it upon them because Brixby failed to find one. I think that is what he was the most excited about. What else did we get that we were stoked on?
I don't remember what we got in that night market. I feel like we got other. It wasn't the grenades because we stole all those from Red
No.
Tooth.
I think there were a bunch of spells. The bag of holding you
Yeah.
already had.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
mean, it
it
might
was
have just been
mostly
like Cloak of
Brixby
Resistance sort
related
of
stuff.
stuff.
Like I feel like we got a
Asher
lot of spells
did.
for him to learn. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say Asher bought some alchemical paper to make his first alchemical paper cartridges.
And never regretted that decision, right?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Who needs an expanded fumble range?
Boy, I do. What's funny is I also had Asher pick up some firearm oil, which will reduce that by 1, and I've literally never used the oil.
Oh,
So,
whoa. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
What does it cost per dose?
Some.
Money amount.
No, I happen to still have it here in my history. It's 260 gold pieces, and it's good for 20 applications.
Now, is an application just per shot, or is it like a day-long thing, or an hour? Or
It is an hour, or until. Well, that's the sad thing is it reduces it by 1 for an hour, or until the firearm is fired.
Oh, so it's only good for 1 shot. Ugh.
That sucks.
Makes sense.
That seems like one of
Yeah,
those things that it
so-
should be like an hour or like 5 shots or something. Like,
Yeah, it
how
seems
crappy
like
is
it
this
should be
oil
like
that
an
firing
oil,
once?
like
Yeah.
a weapon blanch or something.
And I probably thought it was better than it was, so it's fine.
Oh, the thing is, like, you're always going to have a regular round chambered, and the alchemicals are just for reloads in battle. So it kind of, the main thing it's used for, it doesn't work for.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe I'll mix it up and start keeping a paper loaded.
Or until Jeff solves a problem that we have that can only be solved by oil, like finding a Tin Woodsman or trying to figure out what to start a war with another country over, or I mean, all of the uses for oil, really. So
May-
after
Salad dressing.
salad dressing,
Maybe
really
he'll
the
run
top
into
three
a
uses of oil.
maybe he'll run into a Numerian fluid drunkie that will trade it for a pistol of infinite sky.
Yeah, that's a fair trade.
But so we bought some things, and obviously Jeff truly mentioned the high point of the night market, which was the presentation of the only NPC that has had entrance and exit music. I recently re-listened to this episode, and I was just like, "Oh wow, yeah, this is so far." And I'm fine spoiling saying this, the only NPC that has had their own custom. Yeah,
That was
like
a
a
really
wrestler.
fun edit. I'm really pleased with how that turned out because I had that thought of like he's got to have his own kind of theme that I didn't create, but I did set aside for to go. Yeah, Jimmy Fame needs some music. It kind of reminded me of the Shinra in FF7.
Now, I don't want to, shatter any illusions here, but Jimmy Fame is not in the book. He was actually invented by my son, who was inventing a TV reporter who just kept saying his name, Jimmy Fame. And he was doing the weird voice. And then I told him I was going to steal it, and he was very excited about it. I told him it was a goblin, and he was even more excited about it. So, yeah.
I mean, how could it not be a goblin with that name?
Yeah, Jimmy Fame, Jimmy Fame.
One of the peakiest but just standout NPCs for sure of the whole campaign.
Yeah, all editing of Jimmy Fame, it's impossible to make it sound good because it's just a solid block in the sound wave, and there's no way to do it without that.
Not Jimmy Payne, Jimmy Fame.
That's his brother who beats you up.
And speaking of beating people up,
Oh, yeah, he had a
Jimmy
business proposition.
He had quite the proposition for the gang, indeed.
Yeah. To fight in the Scrap Masters arena with, basically, he let y'all set the terms, and you chose poorly.
Oh man.
Izzy's not here to defend herself, but
She's in the chat, Sam.
She did agree to a one-on-one fight with a troll.
When you said the word agree and drew it out like that, you shrunk like 40%.
Yeah, I became Jimmy Fame sized.
Well, and I was totally prepared to do this duel. Like, all right, this should be interesting. And then she jumped at this idea, if I recall correctly. She was like, "Oh yeah, let's fight." And man, if she didn't have to remember so many things, and it's really a lot. You think it's just all Hulk smash, but she's got to remember fast healing.
They're complicated classes, and also we decided what seemed like a good decision at the time, and later on we all regretted it, both for in-story and out-of-story reasons, having it be a performance combat.
Oh my god. Yeah,
which on top of the 12 different things that a Blood Rager already has to remember, having to remember all of the different roles and buffs and bonuses and negatives for performance combat.
Yeah.
And then I think Sam also cursed her dice before that too, so that was not great.
I mean, she did better than I thought that she would against Hellscarg, who is not an opponent that you would think a level 5,
I think
maybe
we were, yeah.
5 PC could take one-on-one. But she did very well. She didn't have anything to combat the regeneration, which I think was big, but she was hitting much harder than Hellscarg was.
Yeah.
She just couldn't, hit as many times, and she couldn't match the health.
Yeah. I think if we had found a way to make her sword flaming or something beforehand, I think she could have won that. Because she had to have dealt almost enough damage that without regeneration it would have killed her. Or taken her below 0.
It was rounds per level. Somebody someone had come up with that because I think we had cut a bunch of it out, but I remember the Kira's juice menu thing inside. We had worked out buffs, like a long
Yeah.
line of buffs, and some of
Oh
you may
yeah,
remember
because that's right. Because
just like
that's when I found out about like half of my spells that I thought were range of touch or range of personal. I couldn't use them. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
awesome. I can enlarge her. I can give her mirror images. No, I can't do either of those because those are personal. I couldn't
Yeah,
give
I
her
cut
long
out
arm because that's
Magus is
personal.
designed
Yeah.
58.
to only help itself.
Mhm.
Man, that duel episode, I don't think I can't recall offhand at least an episode where I felt more helpless and able to contribute absolutely nothing because it was a performance combat, it was a one-on-one duel. The arena is hysterically large. And I'm a lawful good character who's not like I'm gonna sabotage things. So I'm just sitting there like hoping I can get to her in time if she goes down, but also, you know, trying to see, do I have a straight line to use this laser cannon like rifle because it's the only thing I have that because I'm not a ranger. I have like a 25-foot range and she's like 250 feet away.
yeah, it is hard to convey the like absolute size of hmm? It's hard to convey the absolute size of that arena. As far as like Pathfinder battle maps that I have played on and fought on, that is the largest one, without a doubt, without fail. Like one uninterrupted kind of battle space. And then yeah, no, it was funny. It's one of those moments where there's rounds of combat, and I'm like, there's Kira doing something important. Ooh, that's weird, huh? Oh, my audio just switched. That's strange. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
will
trying to
say,
do it without saying it on.
yeah, while you're figuring that out,
Can you hear me now? Better?
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
that
Yeah.
map is described in the book as a 300-foot wide arena, and they don't give you a map. So but the awesome map pack that I've been using that several people turned me on to before we started recording, which I'm gonna find who made them in a second, had a map for it. True Shoba had them for books 1 and 2. Created a gigantic arena map for that. But I will say also, you spoke falsely. The largest map
Oh yeah, never mind.
is the environment dome from
Yep.
Yeah. The
The
giant
Kasatha
Kasatha desert
skeleton.
with nothing in it.
Yep.
yeah, which even on True Shoba's ridiculous gigantic maps is 4 maps.
And truly, I mean, had nothing on it, especially not a designated path that would have provided an optimal trail through.
No.
That's like the only thing it does have.
Well, yeah,
Nope.
but just
nor-
like
No, it has cliffs to climb, Sam.
just
yeah,
like when
climb.
yeah, just like when we were playing Diablo 2 in 1997, you have to
Yep.
explore all the empty desert to make sure there's not like a secret hidden path there that's going to get locked when you progress the story.
Yeah. 100%. Get achievements for that stuff, man.
Just XP, just grind.
Oh, the other thing I was saying before Discord decided to just be like, you sure you don't want to just go off the little phone mic there? Was that that was one of those moments where rounds of combat were so comical because it was like Kira in a real combat, Brixby failing to do anything useful, even though Sam was being very kind and giving me a lot of options to cheat and kill a Dippin' Dots vendor. And then it would cut to Asher. And I just imagine him just like walking through like the crowd at like a public fair or something, being like, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, because you were trying so hard to get to a place where you could even see them. And like,
Mhm.
oh my God. Yeah. It was I felt helpless too. And like I had the illusion of doing something. But Kira was a wrecker. She did exceptional. And I mean, it was also how often do you lose and not get a party wipe, right? How often do you run away from combat and things like this? Some parties do it more than others. We've only really had one tactical retreat, which was the Galarn. That was
Marrow.
oh yeah, Marrow. I forgot 2 tactical retreats. Although, yeah, no, yeah, you're right. So that was just it's interesting because normally we are kind of like an aggro this thing till it's dead party. And like many of us who play this game, but that was just a weird moment where like Kira losing didn't deny us anything, and it didn't potentially put anyone in serious danger. It just added depth to the story, which was
Mhm.
so cool. And Kira
Yeah.
played it, or I mean, Izzy played it out so well because that is like one kind of a nightmare as a player. Like Leslie Nielsen, we're all counting on you. Like that is just absolutely the most like you got this. And yeah, and like Sam said, against an enemy that we're kind of ill suited to fight. And I think we had like sun metal, I think was the spell that we were talking
Hmm.
about, or something along those lines, right? And that was
Mhm.
like we were only held to buffs that were primarily 10 minutes per level because our minute per level buffs were questionable at best. I think like
Yeah.
the most of the stuff that we did were
Yeah.
10 to an hour.
Yeah, because I think the idea was like, because it's an arena fight, like there's introductions and everybody marches out and all that. And by the time that's all done, if you had a buff that only lasted rounds or minutes, it would be gone before you were done being introduced.
Yeah, when the Charlie the Lizard folks band and dancers finished their third encore before they even start the fight, you've run out of like shield and all that minute per level.
Man.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she was CR7 and Kira was level 5. So that's a
Wow.
very hard
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
And
Any way you slice it,
yeah,
because that means she's designed for a party
party of level
that's
set. Yeah,
level
that's the next
7.
thing I was about
Yeah.
to say is for people who aren't super up to the behind the scenes like GMing of Pathfinder, the CR doesn't mean like it's not the level, it's the challenge rating. So a CR7 means a full party of level 7 characters. This is a combat that is on regular level for them. Like not
Yeah,
one level 7 character, four of them.
and in general, like the very capable 4, at least in this iteration, has gotten very good at dealing a ton of damage, especially against single foes. So, CR7 is not really a challenge for the entire party at level 5. It's not as much of a challenge as it sounds like, but for one character,
Yeah.
it's really hard. Um, but
Yeah.
with all the buffing, like, yeah, she had a shot. It was an outside shot, but
Well,
It would have
totally.
been so many Big Bad Daddy points.
oh yeah.
Like if
It
she had
literally,
won.
like, if you beat her in the arena, you get maxed out on Big Bad Daddy points automatically.
Wow.
So
Like, that's in the book.
what would you have had uh what the heck's her name? Big Bad Daddy lady.
Bulgara?
Kalgara.
Kolgar. What would she have done if we beat Hellskarg in the arena then? Like would she have
Talk
agreed
to
to
us.
like have the talk with us and been totally above board with everything, or would she have been like
Yeah.
sneaky bad guy stuff, send everybody else in and try to kill us?
Oh, she'd have the talk with you. Kolgara wasn't super interested in killing you all until, like, it became clear that you wanted to kill her, basically. Excuse me. She wanted to see if you would be useful to her because you'd been tearing apart her army, and her main fixation was like when Hellion actually ascends to like actual almighty god power, she needs to have this seat of power, and you guys are eroding at it, so she needs you to either stop, um even if that's by giving you what you want, depending on what you want, or by killing you or coming to some sort of agreement. Like, she didn't have any sort of personal vendetta, and she did not like Meanda and didn't particularly care that
Mhm.
Meanda was gone.
How'd she feel about so I guess I can ask this one a little bit later on, because we haven't gotten to him yet.
Yeah, understudy hasn't come up
Hmm.
yet.
Yeah.
Um, but the last thing I'll say on the whole Kira thing too, Sam brought up a good point. At that point, we were great at dealing types of damage, and it's like Brixby and Asher in particular. touch AC on everything, which versus a troll, I imagine, is atrocious. And then like Brixby, relying heavily on scorching rays, like any good arcane trickster would, and then like Asher, just tons of absolute damage, smiteable damage. Like, so we had certain strengths that if we were to say combat the troll, combat the troll. It's just reading the Discord notification as I was trying to talk, trying to combat the troll that we could have done if we did face them as a whole party, say in a future episode. But yeah, no, Kay did a great job, and they even, if I remember correctly, offered to arm wrestle Vargas for the honor. To which Vargas was like, "I'm an inch shorter and old, so no."
Yeah. Yeah. And Vargas, like, in his mind, kind of saw this as like we had found out that Kira's other mother had been a gladiator. And it's like, we're coming to this arena, like, she's trying to become an adventurer, and he's thinking of it more as like Kellen kids, like becoming warriors. And he's like, this is a perfect opportunity for her to prove herself. Like, I'm not gonna take this from her. One, because she's already stronger than I am and she's gonna do better in this fight anyway. And two, this is a perfect opportunity for like her to prove herself type thing.
Yeah, I think they would have wrecked any of us individually, because all of that aforementioned strength that any of us have, like none of us could take hits. Like Asher or Brix would have crumpled under like half of what Kira dealt with and kept going. So I don't know. Good job, Izzy. I'm not in Twitch, so I don't know if you're still there, but good on you.
And then I think we're on episode 60 now, and just the end of episode 60, after the fight was lost, I mean, you all hit the lose condition, which is basically, I don't think you knew at the time, and I can't remember exactly how it was phrased, but it wound up being you meet Hellion in all his living in a TV glory, and he demands you bow before him. So how was that for everybody?
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
You call
It
us
was
mean.
interesting. Yeah.
You were super mean to Hellion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Poor
you're
Hellion.
talking about a. Sorry to keep stepping on you, Drew. You're talking about a paladin of another deity going to submit to, a lawful good person submitting to someone who's made no qualms about, like, yeah, if y'all get in my way, I'll just, blow your whole town apart. Like, was he supposed to say, surely we can just hash this out? Do you prefer hot tea or hot coffee? Like,
And I
Probably, yeah.
love that when we refused to bow and he did the like channel negative or whatever it was, and Sam either rolled all ones or really close to it, because it was like 4 points of damage or something. Like it was
unholy blight.
it was
Unholy
like
Blight, that's what it was. Yeah.
the weakest display of power. It was so funny. Like, oh, you're not gonna bow, okay? And then it's just like a fart noise, and we all take a point of damage. Like it was.
Yeah, that was sad.
Well, it was also helpful that a portion of a small contingency of the party was chaotic neutral.
Yeah, it's a half neutral party, so they already took half damage.
Yeah.
And then I don't think anyone took full damage because Asher always saved because he has plus 30 to everything, and then
Yes.
Kira saved, and then Vargas
Could you
and Brixby are
imagine-
both neutral, so automatically half damage.
Yeah.
If Asher didn't have good saves, I don't know that I would have fun very often. Because it's like, if I'm going to misfire all the time and fail every save, like, what do I bring to the table?
To be fair, you'd be less of a paladin and slinger, so you'd have all those like, this is my misfire hands. I don't know.
That's
right?
fair.
Am I wrong?
Yeah,
I
you'd
don't
have
know, I
all
don't
the
know.
abilities that let you cancel out like so many of those a day and everything.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be our Asher, and that's
Mm.
what's important.
Oh. I do enjoy the moments when, because he's normally just a fairly easygoing, good-natured guy. But when there's something that he that just isn't right, when he gets to stand up for something, I always enjoy getting to kind of lean into that side of his character. And
Yeah, like going way back, and I don't want to get too off on a tangent because I think we're getting close to taking a little bit of a break and then switching to Q&A, but just to tack onto that, during way back during the fight with the orcs and the Yosoki under the mountain, when Vargas killed the orc that surrendered, and Asher basically pulled him aside and was like, "You don't do that again." Like, that was probably the first time in the pod that we saw Asher like not genial. Like, he was very upset. Like, that went so against his personal code that he like, and it was very well done.
thanks. As a player, I was like, oh, I don't want to have confrontation with another player, but
Yeah, no, I'm glad you
But
did.
no.
Like,
30
that's the thing.
sessions
Like,
later, you know?
sometimes that happens because, like, that is absolutely what that character would do. Like, you would not stand aside and just be like, okay, yeah, that happened.
And I feel like that moment was kind of part of the formation of the group, where it's like these two characters think of the world in very different ways.
Different ways, yeah.
And they go about things in very different ways. And the fact that, like, the two of you were able to, RP that conflict and have, like, these two characters have totally different views and they have a conflict, but it was all within the game. And I was nervous about it too as a GM. Like, is this like, are we about to have a problem here? But I mean, you two were awesome about it, and it just became like, it was just part of the game, and we moved on and kept playing. But
And Asher did kick off in that moment our commitment to the carceral action of taking one hostage every time instead of murdering. So he
Well-
was like, no, my God demands we leave one alive. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
before.
You know,
Asher
I'll have to go
worships,
listen back to that.
Yeah, Asher worships the bad guy from Mulan.
Yeah, I just will always remember how touched he was at Brixby's community service aesthetic of, hey, like, if you don't work with us, then we're gonna paint the walls with you. And it's like, man, this guy gets it.
Really
Oh
care
my
about
God,
my
is
civic
he?
duty.
Izzy just
Oh,
wrote in the
no.
chat, I fully thought Zach was going to bring up Asher kicking a baby.
Now that is one that we have recorded evidence you can listen to, and all of the slander and libel about Asher hating babies will
I mean,
speak for itself.
I just know that somehow Asher became the iconic anti-paladin.
And the pig became a
And-
baby. Yep.
That's all Zach's fault.
Not playing your character, man. I'm just
No.
watching the babies fly over the
The space babies flying back into space.
Yeah, see, it was just a complete misunderstanding. He was trying to send it home.
Well, I think that's a good point for us to take a little break before we come back for some Q&A in this absurd, giant-sized machine learning.
Do we want to clap back in? I actually started a new recording because when I went tin can, it just cut off the last 10 minutes of my recap. I'll pull it
And
from
Craig is still going, right? Okay, yeah, he is.
Yeah, Craig's
All
still going. So we can clap again.
All right. Everybody gets to watch us clap in twice. Really exciting.
Whoa.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Try to really add some zest.
I was actually, just as you said that, thinking like, should I come up with a cooler way to clap?
You just got to pretend your hands are cymbals and you're doing a big crash.
You're not fully clapped until you're zestfully clapped.
That's all we have for today, folks.
We came back to make those jokes.
I mean, after that, everything's downhill.
That's true.
So, if any of you have questions about us, hopefully things that are not spoilery beyond episode 60, weirdly, but I guess just any question goes, really, because it's late.
Because it's the
Um,
coloning. Let it go.
yeah,
Wait, I didn't know.
there are no rules in coloring.
No, just gotta cleanse your mind of all those questions.
That was
Really-
unintentional for me, but oh boy.
Did we
Thank you,
get
Jeff. We have a
got a
series
couple
of
of
questions.
questions in the
in
thing?
the
Yeah.
machine learning. And
There's
we
a
also have
few
some old ones in the
people
hopper.
watching live, but not sure
We'll give them
anyone
time.
has any questions from the people watching live. Also not sure how many of the people watching live are people in our bot, because my thing says 6 people, but there's more than that I see in chat, so I'm not sure if it's just not updated or if like half the people watching are
There's-
bots.
There's
There
been
are
some cat
30
and I
people,
joke
and
stuff.
they're all real, and they love us.
Yeah, we certainly didn't pay for any of them to be here to boost our numbers.
Not at all, but we
Not
could
at all.
while we're enjoying a fine bubbly.
Um,
My last thing, it's a shill, it's not a joke. If you didn't know or have yet to pop in there on our Discord, which you should totally all join, we do have a channel specifically dedicated to the asking of questions. You submit a question in that channel, and as long as it's not one that we basically already answered in some form or fashion, between the next machine learning and calendar year 2036, we will do our best to answer that question.
And the people
Ooh,
at legal said we have to answer truthfully. It's in the forms that Sam made us sign when we joined the podcast.
Yeah.
I like
Thanks,
how
Sam.
Jeff shrunk like 80% as he said, yeah. So I think that'll take us to our first question from today, which is from Crazy Piano Man on the Discord. If you could adjust your theoretical, personal, in real life character sheet to min-max 1 primary and 1 dump stat, to say 20 strength and 6 wisdom, etc., would you take the deal? And if so, which score would you raise and which score would you lower?
Jeff took the good answer. Sometimes we plan our answers questions and I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna be funny. I'm gonna make later. You guys are getting 20s. No. But here I am with my 6 int, not able to come up with anything else besides what Jeff said. So
Yeah, I was just self-deprecatingly and insecurely thinking like, well, what if you're already oops all dump stats? Like that this deal would
Yeah,
be
so,
great. I
like-
could actually bring something up.
Yeah. Like
I'd take it in a heartbeat.
Like I feel like my con is already well below what you're legally allowed to put it at the start of a character. Like
Same. I might, and that was what I was tempted to. At first, I thought, oh, maybe it'd be cool to to max out my int. It's like, you know what? I may choose con because of I've been congested for like 20 years and all these other things. Chronic hernia pain. Let's keep going. It's a fun joke, everyone. But like, yeah, 20 con and just take my charisma that's already a 7 down to a 6. Okay.
You know, my brain went directly to the exact same place. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
there's a or a pandemic still going on and a new pandemic coming. And I was already terrified of public. So if I have a 20 con and a +5 to my fort saves, that's it. That's the whole thing. And
Yeah,
then, charisma's
I've-
already negative 30, as we can tell from that.
Yeah.
But I just
I
did
would
with the
also
talking.
same as I would also take con and bring that up to something where I'm not told, yeah, you're probably going to be dead when you're 60. That's fine. And maybe drop. God. I mean, I feel like my charisma is probably already not great, but just like I'm just copying Jeff's homework at this point. Like, yeah, no, knock con up and drop charisma down like 1 more point and let it be a 6.
and that's why we're so listenable, really, is because of our charisma, the charisma that we all put on Zach and Izzy to bring. Because you're not getting it from me,
Why am I so
apparently
big?
from Sam and Drew.
What happened?
Oh no, your con's so huge.
Why am I here? Oh, there it goes. I don't know what.
Skype was showing you what it was like to have 20
At 20 count.
Oh,
You
together
just turn
mode
into
is the
Shaq,
dumbest thing.
which is weird because I guarantee you that man does not have 20 con.
He's a restaurateur. You know, he could. What can't he do?
He goes
Run
to the
from
store
one
and
side of the
buys
court to the other.
bicycles for children. He doesn't need
Comfortably
to.
navigate many of the doorways in Japan, as I
Sit.
learned as a 6'2" individual.
Sit in a motor vehicle.
Oh yeah. Oh, he drives a smart car. I don't know anything about Shaq because that is the purview of an entirely different related podcast that we love.
Mhm.
But yeah, I saw a gif of him getting into his smart car and driving away, and it brings me pleasure to this moment. I'll find it for the Discord.
He had
Thank
to
you.
do that for a meme.
Absolutely.
Only thing I know is I remember him saying that he is not ashamed of doing Kazam because he's like, I was 23 years old and they gave me $6 million. Was I going to say
Oh,
no?
yeah.
Absolutely not.
Why would you say no anyway? That was
I know.
that was some cinema masterpiece right there.
I never saw Kazam. I did see a good chunk of Steel, and I know that, like, at one point he doesn't have. This is spoilers for Shaq's superhero role from the early to mid '90s, but at one point he basically has to make a free throw, in order to save the day, and he makes. But I think that's just like the most glorious thing, that hack a Shaq. And the fact that he couldn't make free throws became a thing that he got redemption for in one of his major motion pictures.
Apparently, he rides around in a lot of tiny cars. Like, that's just a thing you do when you're a big guy, I guess. Because searching
Are we
Shaq
sure
in a
those
tiny
aren't just
car-
regular sized cars?
Fair. But no, yeah, that's the distinctive little smart car. And then here's
that's
a bonus.
that's definitely a smart car. That second one looks like it might be an IQ. I don't know if that second one is a smart car. The blue one.
No, it says well.
Is it a
We'll
smart?
save this for
Because the
our
lights on the back
collaborative
look like the lights on an
podcast.
IQ.
Well, according to this Jalopnik article, who's in
It
that
is a
smart
smart
car?
Oh.
The answer is, in fact, Shaq.
Okay.
If it wasn't already clear by all the photos I posted of him in the smart car. Thank you for that wonderful question about Shaq in a smart car.
Thank you, Crazy Piano Man, for asking us our opinion on Shaq.
What is the smallest car that the members of the podcast can envision Shaq in? Thank you. It was a good one. It was.
Why does every machine learning turn into a 20-minute discussion on a random celebrity?
Now I've tangentially moved to Shaq riding a Segway, and I can't. Because it'd have to be extended, the handles so high.
I'm so excited for Shaq to join Tim Curry and Keith David as
We're
our
not making
replacements.
another Photoshop.
Yeah, we just need one more, and we have replacements for all 4 players of the pod. I call Shaq playing me. Oh no, I really can't. We know it's Steve.
Well, at least you're the tallest one on the podcast, so
Yeah. I mean,
I think.
Yeah, I could just be.
That was an assumption, but you said your height, and I assumed based on
It's true. It'd
being
be a
over
weird
6
thing
feet.
to lie about.
you're the tallest of all.
Yeah, I have no idea how tall Jeff is, other than it's taller than me.
Yeah, I mean, 6 even. So you got
I
me.
was gonna say we met
Asher
in
may be
person, but
the
I'm
canonically
bad at
tallest.
judging heights. Also,
that's why I
clearly
made
the
Asher
fourth
6'3".
person would be the reanimated corpse of Cesar Romero.
Oh God.
Um,
Well, yeah.
let's see. What do we have for our next question? Oh God. Tim asks, when you reach #1 in gaming podcasts, will your reign be benevolent or full of terror?
No comment.
The folks at legal have asked us not to. No, I don't want to cop out. We told them we'd answer these things truthfully. It's in our contract.
It's true. And unfortunately, since GooTube Holdings Limited actually owns the rights to Full of Terror, we can't use that necessarily, but I would say our podcast would be like that.
Definitely a lot of iron fists involved.
hmm
No, see, maybe I'm not being optimistic enough, which is weirdly out of character. But in order to have a reign, you have to like maintain.
hmm
That's just good marketing. And could we reach #1? Absolutely. How long would that last long enough for us to have a reign of any kind? I feel like if I were to categorize our reign, it would be like on brandly awkward or viscous.
hmm
That's true.
I mean, it
Well,
can be
I
that
do
and
want to,
also incredibly brutal.
yeah. And there's
Brutally
also
viscous.
the fact that we got up in the top 30s in Australia. Not to toot any horns here, but the same week the McElroy brothers just happened to drop a live show where they go all in on Gogurt.
hmm
Are you kidding
Hmm.
me?
It's not the only
They've been
podcast
listening.
that's mentioned viscous stuff recently. I'm
Mhm.
just saying.
Yeah,
Mm.
weird coincidence there, Justin, Griffin,
Looking at you.
Travis.
But a shrimp on the Barbie to all of our Australian listeners who are tuning in. Speaking of which, thanks for making us the best.
I mean, we were, not that I just searched it on our internal Discord. We hit number 15 in New Zealand in leisure in February of 2021. And I thought we
Wow.
couldn't possibly top that.
Well, I mean, leisure is not just a category; that is a super category.
Yeah,
That's the
we weren't
category
15 in
above
gaming. We were 15
No.
That's
in
a
leisure. That means like all the
man.
cooking
Leisure.
podcasts, all the like women's murder club ones, all of that stuff. Like we were 15.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when you're that high, it's basically just Roblox above you.
hmm Sheep husbandry podcasts, if we're talking about the Kiwis. But, you know.
To which Zach said, "Let's tour New Zealand immediately." And I don't think we've missed that boat. I think they haven't forgotten who Potty
Mhm.
Against the Machine is.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Jacinda Cern that actually listens to our podcast, right?
Yeah.
I think I pronounced her name right.
Who could? I mean, I'd love for her to chime in and disagree
On
or
Twitch.
validate.
Please do it if you're here currently. Prime Minister of New Zealand.
You know, she was very serious about the pandemic, and I think that's really the only reason we didn't tour
Yeah.
at the time. But
Well,
will
that
that'll
and all the
surely
rich
be a
people went
Patreon
there.
goal.
Like that is where all of the wealthy went and then immediately went to ground. There was like a ton of like terrible doomsday like resorts that people just went and moved to. It was such a like awful dystopian view of how we navigate crisis. It's like let's just go to this island community filled with sheep and safety.
And of course, we weren't yet making the gigantic content creator money that we're all making now.
Right.
Yeah. No,
But
we have-
now,
what is the highest honor they can bestow in New Zealand? I will Google this.
I mean, I was talking to Britt and Jermaine just the other day, and they were asking us to open for Flight of the Conchords. And I was like, "You want? I think you're going to open for us, right?" And they're like, "Oh, got me."
Yeah, so I think that we have gotten the Order of the. We've been appointed to the Order of New Zealand. That is the highest of the royal honors system.
Sounds about right.
It's
That's a
canonical. I said it.
surprisingly normal name. I was expecting it to be like the Order of Saint Billabong of like all of the like British and former British colony
Latter-day
things, like their orders
Wallabies.
are always like some really long name of some guy that died in some horrible war.
Well, that
Yeah, but
some of the British things are like I think the lowest thing that the Queen can grant you is just like member of the British Empire. Like
God,
to be formally recognized, you can just be a member.
they have surely bestowed that on many people, many
Yeah,
years, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and then
often
like the
against their
lowest,
will.
yeah, and the lowest order that Carson McCullers can bestow upon you is member of the wedding. But I'm sorry, that was an English major. I said member, and then I was stuck. As an English major, I had to make a Carson McCullers joke.
Well, the English
Never.
majors are going wild right now in the chat. I can see it. I'm actually not in Twitch, but I am in Discord, and I'm reading the next question.
Go for it. Put me out of my misery.
All right. Oh man, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced this because I'm dumb, but mashinanigun, mashinanigun. Anyway, what ridiculous weapon would you have your totally human character use if stats for it existed? A toaster, a lightning rod, or prejudice as psychic damage? Wait, I guess it's not multiple choice. I think it's an open question.
Yeah, no, you have to pick
Choose
one of those
of
three.
Uh, to wield prejudice with great prejudice would sound very funny, but that's not my weapon of choice.
Great
Well-
music video though, with Christopher Walken.
Excellent reference that everybody else
weapon
who
of
is our
choice?
age gets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think as much as a toaster would grant you like a bravery bonus, of course. That was the whole joke. That was all I had.
You
Oh,
can
was
mess
awesome.
somebody up with a toaster. Have you guys not seen Langoliers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
What
where
a-
the little nerdy kid wraps the toaster in the blanket, and the guy that's like the professional assassin is like, "You did that with a toaster?"
That movie is like 3 hours long, and then I remember
Yeah.
seeing the
Oh.
Langoliers and being like, "What the?
You're starting to cut out weirdly.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Again? Is it?
Yeah,
doing
and
it
you got
still?
really
Yeah, a
big
little
as
bit.
you cut out.
All right, disregard me.
Oh, your tin can again.
The Langoliers have come for you.
Yeah. Oh, F in the chat. We'll miss you, Zach. This might make me the tallest person in the pod, and I just can't have that responsibility.
Hope we can get Shaq in a week or two.
Right. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I can't tell at this point. All right, excellent. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think everything's just in this room. And my sound cards just decided to occasionally take a nap. So this is a job for Craig today. What would I weaponize?
I'm trying to understand the question, and this just shows the fact that we don't want the listeners / viewers to miss out on any of the things. It's not that I didn't prepare at all. It's just that we really want it to be like y'all are right here with us. Is this for our in-game character?
I think the way I'm interpreting it is like you as a character, what would your sort of signature weapon be? Like,
Okay.
were
If
you a
became
gamified
a
version
character,
of
that's
yourself?
I'm assuming the totally human
Okay.
means.
And sort
I
of
like that.
assuming that like an item that you use became a weapon
Man.
in a game.
Yeah. If you were crossing at Sheba Station, got hit by a truck, and suddenly were in Pathfinder, what would
Yeah,
your
if you got,
character
like, a
use as your
Sekid.
weapon? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you
I would
got that
say
reference.
the most fun item of absolute destruction that I've ever used in all of my home improvement has been a reciprocating saw or a sawzall. I feel like that would be an incredibly satisfying weapon
It's
in some sort
savage.
of, Evil Dead esque way, very chaotic.
I
Um,
mean, not to brag, but I own a gas powered jackhammer, which is probably the way to go.
it's maybe the only thing I'm cool with people bragging about. I didn't
Yeah.
realize, but that is at the top of the list, if not the whole
Yeah,
list.
I bought it years ago and it was awesome, and I haven't used it in like 2 years, but I demoed a foundation with it and it was a
Wow.
lot of fun. The hardest part about it was finding non-leather steel-toed boots so I didn't, remove my feet.
Do you just like look for reasons to use it now?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Well, I've got my property is super rocky, so it's just like, "Oh, we gotta dig a hole?" You don't say.
Oh man.
Sounds like a job for the gas-powered jackhammer.
I will be there shortly. Give me an hour and a half to carry this thing.
Yeah, sawzalls are wild though. The fact that you can just go to Home Depot, give them $100, then go down the street and literally carve a like Kira Smith might do in the future. We wouldn't spoil it, but like you could just go to like I want to make a hole in the side of your house and just do that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Does $99.99.
Yep.
Uh,
Nobody needs you to get a license.
No.
You just put a sawzall straight in your hand and let you go. Yeah, no, it's great. It is the closest thing to freedom that you can touch with your 10 fingers. Grab a
Oh,
sawzall or a gas-powered jackhammer.
well, may I recommend an angle grinder with a diamond disc? You're just like, "Hey, stone, whatever, I'll cut a hole in you." I don't
wow.
hear anything anymore, and sparks are flying everywhere, and the world's on fire, but the
Thank you
sheer
for
destructive power of anything basically you can get at Home Depot.
Yeah.
thank you for tuning into wicked cool power tools with Not Against
Yeah.
the Machine.
I know, I'm trying to think of something now, and all I keep thinking of are power.
So, sadly, I haven't been able to think of anything more gratifying than I'm playing. I have the privilege of being in a Pathfinder 2e game, GM'd by 3-time Eisner Award-winning Corey Marie, and she, yeah, part of this adventure you get to buy. You're gifted your choice of like a level 15, I think it was, magic item, level 15 or 16. And of course, I'm playing a champion, so I'm gonna get a greater or a major sturdy shield, whatever it is. And Tyler, GM of MinMaxed, he couldn't take his eyes off the high grade mithril waffle iron. And he's like, I think I just have to have this. And so out of all the things worth thousands of gold in the game, that became an essential part of his character, his home, and everything. Is like we're like waffle gang now. And now I'm just thinking if I could weaponize a waffle iron, maybe I would. Maybe I
Well,
wouldn't
if
want
you
to though.
bring like a waffle iron from the real world that's got a cord on the end of it, like you could swing that around.
High grade mithril waffle iron with the like
Well, it's a
the
plus one
pattern
to
With
was
like a crappy $2 electric cord.
yeah. It was like almost like a holy relic. It had something to do with like Milani's iconography on it. It's buck wild. But yeah, could you imagine? I'm gonna wield this like sacred waffle iron. That sounds about as dumb as something I would choose for sure.
Oh, I mean, it's got to be pretty heavy. You can hit
Yeah.
pretty hard with a waffle iron.
Oh, yeah.
High grade mithril.
You know what?
I
I
know.
thought of something that isn't a power tool. I think I would bring like one of the actual like 1970s made out of a camera flash with a light bulb screwed into it original lightsabers from the first Star Wars movie. Not a working lightsaber, just like literally the prop lightsaber. That would be my ridiculous weapon.
All right, I have a real answer because I had to think about the thing that hurt me the most that was not a power tool. And I am coming for your fantasy ankles with my razor scooter. And
Oh,
that is
yes.
that is without a doubt like the Vorpal equivalent for feet. It is just the worst thing that can happen. I feel like I have permanent chips on my
Now, is
ankle
your
from those.
backup weapon that pink skip thing with the counter on it?
Ooh, yeah. Did love
Skip
that.
it.
Skip it.
Skip
Izzy
it.
already mentioned it.
Oh,
in
Izzy wrote it.
chat.
Yes.
The instant exit coming for your ankles. That's synergy right there.
God, I remember I had a razor scooter with green handles, and I think like the third time that I folded it down and unfolded it, that part just broke and it never folded down anymore.
I once got banned from a particular Toys R Us for life for riding razor scooters around the store and throwing packages of diapers at my friends.
I like the idea that it's for life. Like they looked you up and down and they're like, nothing can happen to you on this green earth that will mature you beyond this point. You are a monster that must be contained. Stay
I'm
out.
big again. I think
Well-
it's when I drink water.
Well, it's a furniture store now, so I can go back whenever I want.
That's
Looks
what
like
I'm
you
saying.
outlived
nothing.
it.
Yeah. Boy, did
No, they still
regret
have
that.
they still have your picture on the wall.
Probably.
It was specifically that
Oh.
building, not Toys R Us. That building.
Unwelcome diaper thrower razor rider. Which honestly, that's a character concept right there. You ride a razor scooter around.
No,
and
this
throw
is our next one shot where we
That's
all
probably
play
an
like
existing obscure
middle-aged,
1E class.
middle-aged or older characters that are all just, let's go back and get revenge in all the places we were banned as kids.
What terrible things did you do as a teenager? That is your character.
Like, all right,
But it's like in Pathfinder world, so you cast like mad monkeys inside of some place or something. Like I feel like that would be my go-to. No one asked, but what my go-to prank spell would absolutely be.
There's no answer other than Mad Monkeys.
I mean, Grease is pretty solid.
It's old reliable glitter dust too. That that's never coming off. It is a magical equivalent of the yeah.
Especially if it's like quality Michael's glitter.
Yeah.
I feel like vomit
kinda
spiders
here.
would be a good prank
Oh,
spell.
yeah, vomit swarm or whatever that one is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good one. So we have a lot of questions, but there's one I would really love to answer. And that is the one from Bellendora.
Is it the pet one?
Yeah. If your
Oh,
pets
God.
were Pathfinder characters, what classes would they be? I'm happy to go first. My boy Cedar, rotund 8-year-old Chihuahua Cocker Spaniel mix mutt, lovable rescue boy. He is undoubtedly the gentleman class. Without a doubt. Not played often enough, unfortunately. Oh man, Junebug though. I'm gonna go. I'd say Blood Rager. I the nips and bites on my hands from my 65-pound 2-year-old German Shepherd cattle dog mix. I'm gonna go with Blood Rager with that big love, dude.
I'd have to go with, because you did 2. I'm gonna borrow one of my sister's pets for the second one. But BD, my dragon, she would probably be. Is there a class that just sleeps all day? Trying to think what the heck she would be. You know what? I think she would be a. Just because I think it would be hilarious, I think she would be a hunter because she is very, very bad at catching live food. And I could imagine like her being like a dragonborn hunter that's just terrible at like tracking and all of the other stuff that's supposed to be important for that class. And for the second one, my sister's cat Remy, which I attempt to steal every time I go to her house. So I consider her honorably my pet. Would absolutely be a bard, because anytime she sees anyone, she runs up to them and starts screaming and just will not stop until you pay attention to her.
Yeah, I feel like kobolds have like a couple fun classes. But what do cat folk have a couple racial classes too, right? There's like I feel like there's like a
Just
monk or something. And that's not just Sudi. It is
yeah,
Sudi.
off the top
That's
of my
right.
head, I can't remember, but there are a couple. Um, I have like way too many animals to thoroughly answer the question, but just to touch on a few, Eloise, my little yellow mutt dog, who the pictures of her have been all over the Discord. I would say that she matches Asher as a black powder vaulter because she can jump like 6 feet in the air and does like 75 times a minute. Uh, and let's see. Vanessa, my miniature schnauzer, is much more of a sort of back row kind of contemplative type, more of your wizard type of thing. And let's see, Eleanor is the queen cat of the house and queen of all the animals in the house. And I would say that she is the prestige class assassin. Um, because she will chill and just be the most adorable little thing. And she's like a little 8-pound cat that looks vaguely like an owl. And you'll be petting her, and then all of a sudden she will just maul you, and you're dead. You died.
Now,
And
I thought you
every
were
other
gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
every other creature in the house is afraid of her and her wrath.
I thought you
I
were gonna
had
say she was that one cavalier subclass where you get like a bunch of followers instead of just one. When you said she was like the queen of everyone.
oh,
Oh yeah.
maybe she has like leadership.
Yeah.
They all follow her around. Because I have one cat that's like 19 pounds and she's a third of his size, and he's terrified of her.
Yeah.
With good, with
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you don't have much options for your. You have the nimble guardian monk or the cat burglar rogue. But BD has many more choices. There is a swarm fighter for kobolds, a snare setter rogue, a dragon herald bard, and my favorite, the bushwhacker gunslinger. This is amazing. Its first is trembling grit. It's its first class feature. This is amazing. Oh god, craven deeds. This is a if we didn't already have gunslinger on our podcast, I would absolutely play this archetype.
We'll keep that filed away for Asher's inevitable demise.
Never. Never, never, never. All right. Jeff, will you choose the next question? I keep choosing them.
Oh yeah.
You got super quiet.
You just got quiet.
Next question / final question, do we think?
Probs?
That sounds
Yeah,
reasonable. It is
that seems
getting
reasonable.
to be a bit late.
Yeah, getting fairly late.
I mean, I would listen to us babble all day, but I want to respect the time of our legions of listeners. Oh, yeah. I think. How could I pass on Sean Mickey D's question? Based on all the Gogurt jokes, what actual combination of flavors do you think best describes the group you're running for? P.S. These answers will be turned into his new mead batch.
So
Oh.
rat is probably.
Oh, so we got to use. Okay, so we don't
porous,
want to use.
right?
We don't want to use like joke flavors.
Well, luckily, I think we're a good 6 months late answering this question. So
Yeah.
Spoilers, he
probably
might make more
Yeah.
batches of mead. I don't know.
well,
Yeah,
Steven.
probably yeah, but
Yeah, so
probably
like
he's
old
made
man
at least
sweat
one
and rat should not be
safe-
answers.
safe mead batch at least.
Let's see. I mean, I feel like we're gonna have to choose. Talk GooTubes all the time. I feel like we're stuck in the abstract flavors
Yeah.
that GooTube Holdings Corp allows us to use. So, hmm.
Yeah, I've got me
So
thinking of like what would actually be a good thing to eat
Yeah.
no,
slash also
no.
thematically appropriate. And
I feel
I think
like
if we give a non-joke answer, maybe of what GooTube flavor represents each of us individually, then that gets combined into the party. Maybe I don't know.
well, how about if we
fair.
each give like our joke one that we think of and then also like a non-joke one.
I don't ever have non-joke answers. This is very hard,
Yeah.
Jerome.
Like I
Well,
already
is
said
the
my
Defense
joke
mechanism.
one, which is like old man sweat would be Vargas.
I
But
think
I think
Izzy
for
Older
like
spice.
solved the problem for us in the chat by saying beat.
yeah. Yeah, Kira would be beat, definitely.
Absolutely beat.
Yeah,
Um,
Vargas's not joke one though, I think would be like maybe like oh, you know what? Uh Jerky, but made from some weird animal you don't normally make jerky from, like buffalo,
like what is that called?
which I've
Biltong
actually had
or
before.
something
They
like
sell
that.
that at a 7-Eleven near me, but like buffalo jerky would be Vargas's flavor. Like old and tough and not a normal thing that you would see it.
I'm gonna sit.
Brixby's. Oh, please go ahead.
Go for it, because
Oh, copy jerky would be a good one.
I'm gonna say for Garrett, because he's my sort of go-to NPC, just unadulterated caffeine. So, like maybe a guarana or maybe a coffee, whichever one works. You know, just whatever just gets you really wired and paranoid.
Little
Yeah, like
Bombita of
10%
yerba
less than the
mate.
amount it takes to kill you.
I had a roommate who bought the powdered caffeine off of Amazon, and I was like, "Yo, you should be careful."
Yeah.
And they weren't really. They're just
Oh.
like, "Let's caffeinate the orange juice. Let's caffeinate the everything."
Yeah. Yeah,
Pax, you're definitely
caffeine
not
is
listening to this, but
yeah,
God,
caffeine
I
is
like.
scary. Like a spoonful of caffeine can kill like 5 people. Like the amount that's like safe to have is so crazy small.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
terrible. I mean, I push myself to every morning. I am a French press of coffee drinker generally every day, with no food. So I feel that caffeine to the wall. I'm gonna say that. Well, I mean, there was no sweeter taste for Brixby than what also happened to be his 15 minutes of fame when someone pulled out their cell phone while he was dragging a piece of pizza that he found down a flight of stairs towards the subways. Um, what is it that he would probably actually like? You know, this is funny for a podcast that mentions GooTubes all the time. Aside from Beats and Charlie's, I'm trying to think about any other provisions that we have eaten. We were immediately like, "Oh, cool! Tubes of food that are a bajillion years old and poorly labeled. We don't need to spend money on anything else."
I think Vargas actually threw away his trail rations because they were too much weight, so we got the goo tubes.
So
They're
did
too
Bricks.
heavy. Let me just eat this toothpaste tube.
No. Big shout out on this note um, to friend of the pod, our own Game Raccoon, for not only their marvelous tokens, but also their fantastic YouTube flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are an inspiration and a wonder, and thank you.
Now, if we're talking about things we've eaten on the pod, ask no further than the copious notes taken at a Smith family dinner. I can tell you on the first of such dinners, the only one at this point in the pod, probably the only one ever, who could say, we had borscht, fresh baked brown bread, stewed vegetables, some kind of meat thing. I said vegetarian, Sam. Galarn tentacles and roasted thylacine.
Mm. They're really endangered now. So
Noted meat
endangered.
expert.
I was trying to think of what might represent like something like Asher would eat, and my first thought was just like wood smoke. Like I could see him as that guy who's really into like on the weekends finding just the right kind of smoke to his meat,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just be like, maple or whatever. I am not that guy. Like I'm still renting. I'm not gonna bring any of those highfalutin cooking equipments.
Applewood and hickory. Applewood and hickory. Those are
See,
my
you
two
like that?
favorites.
Yeah.
They're all good. I feel you on that one, Jeff. I could see Asher. We go out. We're at the old casino. You order, your double whiskey neat or whatnot, but it also is smoked. That like stupid cold smoking thing that they do to liquor. I've never seen that before, or maybe you all have just managed to avoid that. But it's
No, I've seen
not good.
No, I've seen
It's not good at all. I will say best smoky flavor though that I could actually see Asher quaffing is Lapsang Souchong. I don't know if that's like a thing for other people, but that like black tea, you know what I'm talking about? There's like a very smoky black tea that tastes like campfire. That is like the flavor of it because it's like roasted over burning pine needles. I don't know. Try it if you haven't. It's also a really good way to instill smoke flavor without using liquid smoke.
Oh, cool.
Reminds me of my dandelion coffee I have to drink in the morning because it's supposed to be good for my cholesterol. That literally tastes like I'm drinking dirt.
It's chicory, right? Isn't that chicory?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? It's like
I
ground
think
dried.
chicory
Yeah.
is dandelion root.
Yeah. That was a cowboy coffee sort of thing. Chicory was
Well,
like
they did
cowboy
that because if
coffee.
you didn't have coffee
Yeah.
available, it supposedly tasted similar. Which
Yeah,
I don't
that's
taste
the
it,
same
but
story.
yeah.
Yeah. If any of
Cafe
you
du
have ever
Monde.
been given carob instead of chocolate, like
So we've got what, like beet jerky, smoke flavored. What did we decide on for bricks? Oh, pure caffeine for Garrett.
pizza stairs pizza.
Ed Stairs Pizza.
Probably
Okay.
something off the ground.
Sean McKee, there you have it. An unforgettable mead, if ever there was one.
Good luck. Just really go
don't
heavy on
envy
the honey because you're going to need to cover up a lot of other tastes.
A lot of crimes. It's, I think the secret ingredient is crime.
Yeah, the terroir of the subway system stairs.
Oh, I mean, I think we're closing in on 10:30 here.
Yeah.
We've been going for close to 2.5 hours. This might
Yeah,
be
we've
time to.
According to the stream has been live for 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 10 seconds right now.
As soon as you said it, it became the past.
Well, no time has passed.
Like right now.
No time has passed. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah,
Out in
thanks for
TV land.
thanks for coming
Thank you,
out.
everybody,
Thanks
for
for
coming out.
watching the show, and thanks for listening later on, and also to other stuff earlier and stuff later. We got a new episode dropping in a couple hours, and then it's going to be a couple weeks of Pathfinder 2E.
Woo!
Yeah,
Woo!
we're excited
pod
to
for your
introduce
bod.
you. A whole cast of, brought to you by Pod Against the Machine presents Rules as Written presents James Jacob Arata approved.
Well, and more importantly than that, brought to you by everybody listening because it was hitting that Patreon goal that allowed us to have this little one shot. So, I mean,
quick
that
round of
was
applause
awesome.
for our patrons.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for supporting us. You have absolutely blown our minds. Yeah, this is awesome, and we're very excited about this bonus game that we had a lot of fun recording, and we're very excited about, everything yet to come, and also transcripts, which is the next goal.
Yes.
That'll be an awesome one to hit.
Yes. Ending strong, just like we started
yeah.
strong.
Yeah. I believe Sam is supposed to be saying something because the rest of us are just kind of flailing here, waiting to hear it.
I was just gonna sit in silence for like 20 minutes.
Hmm.
But I guess if you all insist, I can go to bed.
Oh, okay. Good answer.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, the people at legal said we have to as well. So
Night, Sam.
Good night,
nice,
everybody.
Sam.
Machine learning. Kill command received. Terminated.